Let's witness the high-stakes drama develop in the courtroom as it pertains to the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. In this video, we will go through the most crazy events that have left the court system in wonder. What happens behind the closed doors of the courtroom between the explosive testimony and the courageous defense? Let's check out 3 such cases. Third on the list is 67-year-old Richard DeVries. There was reasonable suspicion that violence had occurred. This chaos occurred over the Memorial Day weekend on the busy highway US 95. A gun battle broke out between the Hells Angels and Vagos. Despair set in. After 6 injuries, the road was shut down for several hours. The killing is being investigated as possible retaliation for another homicide in California. More people involved in this tragic confrontation were indicted on September 23rd. There were some hangarounds who wanted to join the group, and their names were Aaron Chun, Ryan Malasco, and Ronerick Padilla. Also discussed was former prospect turned Hells Angels Taylor Rodriguez. The famous Cameron Trike was there. Malasco's injury from the shootout was revealed in court documents. Cases in court tend to raise tension. The guilty parties, Stephen Allo, Russell Smith, Chun, Padilla, and Trike, all received just punishments. In a vehement argument against it, DeVries' lawyer questioned the justice of reducing bail. The dogged prosecutor brought up the latest indictment and the continuous criminal activity of the Hells Angels. Fair and seasoned judge Tiara Jones looked at all the evidence. The discovery by Henderson police of 2 unattended motorcycles in a parking lot shifted the focus of the inquiry. They discovered signs of violence, including bullet holes and blood on one of the bikes. The temporary license plate clearly indicated that one motorcycle belonged to Malasco and the other to Smith. Chun, Malasco, and Smith were seen by surveillance cameras entering the parking lot and then suddenly parting ways with their motorcycles. The detectives didn't give up. Padilla's fiance's vehicle was the intended victim. They were taken aback by the amount of damaging material they discovered within. There was fresh evidence linking the suspects to the area, including bullet casings and blood spatter. Richard DeVries' appeal of his murder convictions in the Moe case was rejected by the Victorian Supreme Court of Appeal. DeVries' punishment was 31 years in prison. An important defense witness was unfairly painted by the Crown's prosecutor as unreliable, which led the court to reject the defense's appeal of the convictions. The verdict effectively confirms DeVries' guilt. Next one on the list is Neil Cantrell, a 62-year-old motorcyclist and gang leader attempted extortion in 2016. 10 years in prison was handed down to the mastermind. Also found guilty and sentenced to time in prison were Neil's son, Stephen Cantrell, and 49-year-old Hells Angels Robert Lowry. After almost a decade of working with Neil Cantrell, Robert Poole, the cannabis grower, told Cantrell in Edmonton in December 2014 that he wanted to leave the illegal pot business. As a gesture of goodwill, he also gave Cantrell the growing equipment, but he didn't hear back until 2016 when Cantrell called to schedule a meeting in the area of Hope, where he hoped to have a civil conversation. Poole, oblivious to the horrors that lay ahead, pulled over. Poole was discovered by the RCMP with wounds, fractures, and a burn to his forehead and was severely battered and bled. Immediately, he was taken to the hospital. Neil Cantrell, his son Stephen, and Robert Lowry ganged up on Poole and beat him while he was chained up. They showed up at Poole's house and made him sign over his stuff. Branch admitted that Robert Poole, who was put in witness protection after the incident, was affected. Branch emphasized that the mastermind behind the extortion was Neil Cantrell, who was in business with Poole and set up the meeting at the pullout. Cantrell showed no remorse at his sentencing hearing for his horrible crimes. Branch added that Neil Cantrell had an impact on his son Stephen and on Robert Lowry, a former Hells Angels hopeful and current patch member. Before a vehicle tragedy in 2009 ruined his life, Robert Lowry was a prosperous businessman with no criminal history. The judge referred to him as the muscle of the extortion ring. Before moving further, answer a question. Would you be involved in 500 kilograms of drug dealing if you got a chance? Well, the next one on the list is going to blow your mind as he executed this under the police officer's nose for several years. In the top spot, we have Emery Martin. Martin's arrest was associated with Operation J Thunder, an RCMP cocaine investigation in the northern New Brunswick counties of Acadian Peninsula, Madawaska, and Victoria. Over 60 people were apprehended in Quebec and other provinces as part of Project Objection, which was begun by Quebec's DU. Even though assault weapons were discovered after RCMP raided a Kalowa Hells Angels clubhouse and Martin was a prime suspect due to his significant ties to them, the police confirmed that none of the other people charged were Hells Angels. In January of 2011, authorities looked into a marijuana production and trafficking operation. When the RCMP discovered that the major trafficker of 500 kilograms of cocaine had exhausted every possible avenue of complexity in his efforts to avoid punishment, they moved on to phase 2 of their investigation. For the 2 years 2016 to 2017, Martin brought in 96 kilograms of cocaine. He's been hit with 10 counts, including drug trafficking conspiracy, possession with intent to distribute, money laundering, and leading a criminal organization. Martin is guilty of multiple serious offenses. For his part in the war between the Hells Angels and the mob from 1994 to 2002, he pled guilty to conspiracy in Montreal's Guan courthouse in June 2015. Many innocent bystanders were among the 160 people killed in this biker gang war in Quebec. Martin was found guilty of smuggling 27 kilograms of hashish into Canada in 1990 and given credit for 15 years served. So this was all about it. Which one did you find the craziest and why? Let us know in the comments below.